Welcome back to our YouTube channel. Our next story is called A Snake in the Room. I was in my room last night when my neighbor started screaming, "Help! Help! Snake!" I ran to her room with a strong wood in my hand. When I dashed into her room, I saw a very big snake facing my neighbor inside her sitting room, and other neighbors joined me with their heavy sticks. We all started shouting, "Today is the end of your life, you evil snake!" I wanted to be a hero that night, so I first of all ran to the snake to hit it with my wood. It turned and faced us with red eyes. Then I said, if I count 1 to 3, we should hit the snake at once, which we all agreed. I started counting. 1, 2, 3, go! Then, peep! Deep darkness covered the room. The worst part was that none of us remembered where the door was located. My neighbors and I were just jumping haphazardly like reggae dancers on stage because we didn't know whether the snake was close by. Some people climbed chairs while some climbed the center table. I found myself on top of the fridge. We were just hitting the other with our sticks, thinking it was the snake. If somebody mistakenly touched another person, a heavy wood would hit the person with immediate alacrity. As I was standing on the fridge, a few seconds later, something soft touched my ankle. I didn't waste time in hitting the thing with my big stick. Immediately, I heard a cry in the room. Someone was shouting, "Jesus, my head! Who hit me?" It was then I realized that I had hit a human being. I moved blindly forward to console the person. Then I mistakenly fell from the fridge and my hand touched something that looked like somebody's knee. Almost immediately, a heavy wood landed on my head. I shouted, "Blood of God, who hit me?" A few seconds later, power was restored and everywhere became bright again. I looked up and saw my dad. Well, I think I'm gonna be homeless.
Hi, guys.
Isn't it funny? And I'm gonna bring you even more funny story. I called a mermaid lady who was owing me money, but she didn't pick up my calls. I called 10 times more. Still, no answer. Knowing that her husband was not at home, I decided to send her this message.
God.
"Hello, madam. I'm not calling for the money. I just wanted to tell you that 2 girls were fighting over your husband in town today. It was a big match, and he was just there watching until one of the girls managed to escape into his car, and they drove off." After some minutes, she called me, but I ignored her. She kept calling, and I found 21 missed calls from her and a message which read, "Where was the fight? Where did they go? Did you notice these girls? Please tell, I am falling apart." She called again 5 times, and I didn't answer. Then another message from her. "I have your money. Please, can we meet so you can tell me more?" Then I replied, "Okay, you can send it through mobile money transfer so that when I pass by the filling station to refuel, I will pick and drive you to one of the girls' house because I know them." After 2 minutes, I checked my account balance. My money was fully paid. I then switched off my phone and slept like a baby. Am I wicked? Welcome back to our YouTube channel. Our next story is called What Happened to Me Yesterday Night. I was hanging out at a friend's birthday where I got myself so drunk and I stayed until 11 p.m. I decided to leave for my house, but no taxi on that route at that time of the night. So I started recalling old comedies and started laughing on my own. And I also decided to hitch a ride home if possible. It started raining heavily, and suddenly a Range Rover Jeep stopped by my side. I quickly jumped into the passenger side and closed the door. Then the car started moving, and just when I was about to say thank you to the driver, I discovered there was no one in the car. I started to freak out, but was too scared to jump out of a moving vehicle. When the car got to a bend, a hand came through the driver's window and turned the steering wheel. This happened twice, And on the third time, I totally freaked out, jumped out of the car screaming, and landed in a ditch full of rainwater. I got up and ran for my dear life and entered the nearest bar I found. After downing 4 bottles of skirt and narrating my ghost story to anyone who cared to listen, 3 guys just walked into the same bar, all drenched in rainwater. One of them pointed at me and said, "Isn't that the crazy guy who entered the car while we were pushing it?" Yeah, it was awkward. But then, this is even more. My mom visited me for dinner while I lived with a girl and a roommate. During the meal, my mother couldn't help but notice how pretty my roommate was. She had long been suspicious of a relationship between the two of us, and this had only made her more curious. Over the course of the evening while I watched the two of us interact, she started to wonder if there's more between me and my roommate. Reading my mom's thoughts, I volunteered, "I know what you must be thinking, but I assure you, we're just roommates." About a week later, my roommate, the girl, came to me saying, "Ever since your mom came to dinner, I've been unable to find the silver plate. You don't suppose your mother took it, do you?" I said, "Well, I doubt it, but I'll email her just to be sure." I sat down and wrote, "Dear Mom, after you visited me, the silver plate has been missing. I'm not saying that you did take the silver plate from my house, and I'm not saying that you don't take it, but the fact remains that it's been missing ever since you were here for dinner. Love, Easy." Several days later, I received an email from my mother, which read, "Dear Sam, I'm not saying that you do sleep with your roommate, and I'm not saying that you don't sleep with her, but the fact remains that if she was sleeping on her own bed, she would have found the silver plate by now, under her pillow. Love, Mom." The end.
Welcome back to our YouTube channel. Our next story is called Oh Seaman. When I was in high school, I was pretty quiet around people who weren't my friends. The high school's wrestling coach also taught geometry, and he was my teacher. This resulted in a lot of wrestlers skipping class and barging into our classroom to hang out and not get in trouble. One day, 7 wrestlers come in yelling about new wrestling uniforms and how excited they were. When they go over and pull out the uniforms, the whole class is kind of side-eyeing them. Even without what I mentioned next, the suits look funny. I mean, it's tight royal blue spandex with a suspender-style top. Absolutely funny already. But the wrestlers grab the uniforms and rush out of the room to go change in the bathroom and come back to show them off. Which is also hysterical because spandex hides nothing. You could see all of their junk. Anyway, we live in a town called Ocean City. It's commonly abbreviated as OC. On the back of the spandex uniform, it says Ocean City Men in large letters, except they used the abbreviation. On the back, it says OC Men, which isn't awful, but then I sounded out in my head. OC Men, OC Men. I almost spit out the water I was drinking. I looked around frantically, trying to find out who I can tell because I didn't have any friends to tell in this class. I turned to the girl next to me, and I had no idea who she was and had never talked to her before. I told her what I found, and we both cracked up. The whole time, she saw me as the quiet teacher's pet who was
Wow.